All right, welcome to the 2022 very first of the year Beach Life Group Roundtable. With me on the Beach Life Group, I have Cassidy Ankur, our newest member, and that's the reason I know you're in the middle. Yep. They put you there. And Chris, we're going to talk 2021 briefly, where we were, and kind of what a year that was. And then we're going to talk about 2022, and we'll make maybe some predictions. But I think more importantly, we'll talk about some of the questions and things you might want to think about if you're either buying or selling a home in 2022. So in North San Diego County or anywhere, really. So what's your, I know I asked you, Cassidy, about what do you think, when you think of 2021, what do you think of?
No houses.
No houses.
Yeah, just no inventory.
No inventory, okay.
And in some markets, I mean, like insane, like Aviara, there was one house at a time, or
right.
Some of the neighborhoods were just, it was so low
right.
that it was insane. It
was a challenge for home buyers, for sure. Ankur?
Cheap money, super low interest rates, chasing not a lot of property, which can only just push prices up higher and higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going back to my first one was tough. So we work with a lot of buyers who are relocating here. So not only get to know the area, all that kind of stuff, which they normally have to deal with, but also just coming out here and dipping their toes into this market last year, which was insane. A lot of, some people kind of run into it, excited, get going, and then, we saw a handful of people just kind of bail out, not worth it,
sure.
or get priced out, which, some people were looking at the beginning of the year. Yeah. By the mid to, third, fourth quarter, prices gone up so much, they weren't able to get in the houses that they were looking at prior. So
right. I mean, well, it was a historic year.
Yeah.
Low prices. I mean, low interest rates, the lowest we've seen mortgage rates in a very long time, maybe ever. Super low inventory, and then prices are really moving. So when we look at what we've seen in San Diego as a whole, 16.7% was the appreciation if you just took all the properties in San Diego and threw them in a bucket, residential type properties. That's what they went up, 16.7%. The coast where we work, Del Mar to Oceanside along the coast, San Marcos and some of those areas. Carlsbad was up 30%, most zip codes. So almost double what San Diego did, and San Diego did really well. And so what do we think? What do we think now? When we look back, we go, wow, that was a crazy year. And now we're 2 weeks into 2022. And by the way, mortgage rates have gone up about 0.5 point in the last 3 weeks. Yeah. So what do we think? What do we think now?
Let's not do that again.
Yeah.
I mean, just some semblance of normalcy.
Right.
Having interest rates go up, hopefully will help a little bit. Inventory has to be higher than it was last year. It just has to be, and because there's nowhere lower.
You can't go negative You can't go negative inventory.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think just have those things. Things have to get better.
Yeah. Well, I ran a zip code a couple days ago, and there was one detached home for sale in the whole zip code.
one house.
Where we normally see 55 to 65.
Right.
In a normal market, last year we might have seen 15 to 20 at the heat of the market. So, what are you thinking, sir?
Yeah, no, I think something has to give.
Yeah.
Obviously, interest rates are looking to move up a bit, but how much sensitivity does that have on buyers?
Right.
I don't think buyers do the full sort of working out how much that adds on to their actual loan value.
I've done some math for you.
Have you?
So I can reel it off for you if you really want. If you had $1 million loan, let's just say you had $1 million loan.
Yep.
At 3%, what do you think your mortgage payment would be? Just principal and interest, $1 million, $42.58.
Okay.
If we go up to 3.5%, which it is now, $45.35. So that's a few $100 up. Not too bad.
Yeah.
If we get up to 4.5, it's $51.88, almost $100.
Wow. $
920 higher. That is a Tesla payment or something, right? Or maybe, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing, it's a huge
It's
payment.
almost $1,000.
Yeah.
It's a
So-
huge payment over the 30 years, but if you look at the monthly payment,
Right.
People will compare it to cars as well. They'll be like, well, I might be paying a little bit more, but what other choice do I have? So it
Right.
comes down to the alternative.
Yep.
And I think that's what we're going to see in this market, whether we like it or not. What is the alternative? Is it looking somewhere else, or is it not selling? But something has to budge.
Yeah.
And I think with the interest rates going up slightly, that rate of increase, that rate of incline will calm down a little bit, but it's still going to be a very difficult year for buyers.
Yeah, the experts say 3 to 5%. The mortgage rates will kind of
Yeah.
go between there. They've really been there the past 10 years. They've kind of gone between 3 and 5%. I will say in 2018, part of the year, we saw them get up near 5%, and
Yeah.
it definitely had an effect on our local market here.
Definitely.
Yeah. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah. Are we doing predictions now? Is that kind of what we're into, or predictions in a little bit?
let's
thoughts
hear
on
your
the market. I'll
yeah.
do predictions later. Okay.
Yeah.
My thoughts. What we're going to see this year is a little bit of, once again, kind of the same. We'll get to predictions, and I have a few different scenarios for that. But as far as kind of on the buyer side, we might see, with those interest rates creeping up, a little bit of FOMO, because I was in this position when we bought our house in 2013, and I saw kind of house prices creeping up a little bit. I saw interest rates were down for a while and potentially going up.
Right.
And so we made the decision one day, we got to get a house right now, and just having that urgency to get in somewhere. There's already that urgency. I mean, there's already that buyer pool, plus anybody else who kind of sees that going on, and like, did we already miss out? Do we need to get in there now? Like is now the time to get in there? So even though some of the buyers have either found homes and that buyer pool has shrunk a little bit, I think new ones will come in, at least for the first half of this year. I think we'll see I think it'll be a pretty spicy market for buyers and sellers. So.
Spicy, that's
Yeah.
a good word.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay. Good news. So let's talk about, if I'm thinking of buying, let's talk about sellers first. Cassie, I'm going to sell my house this year. I have to sell it this year. Should I sell it right now or wait? Does it matter if I wait till June?
I'd say June probably doesn't matter that much, but I'd say kind of in this first quarter, second quarter of this year, I think it's important because we don't know what's going to happen towards the tail end of the year. Even this year, which was an extremely hot market, we saw it tail off when we got to August, September, October. Not tail off. What was the word we said? Cooled a little bit.
I think it paused a little.
Yeah. So I think kind of having that mentality of our normal, if we get back to a normal market here in North County, is a lot of homes coming on the market in that our normal buying period, our normal buying and selling summer months.
Yeah.
So I think having it, the prices are way up from wherever you bought.
Yep.
So time is of the essence now. We don't know what's going to happen.
Even last year, right?
Yeah, even if you bought 3 months ago, it's increased drastically.
So one of the things too, I would, it's a supply and demand thing.
Mm-hmm.
We are way low on supply. Right. Demand is there and strong.
Right.
So even right now, there's kind of a hyper. We're seeing a lot of multiple offers so far this year. Everything we've dealt with, multiple offers.
Mm-hmm. And even in like late December and times where we're used to seeing a chance of maybe grabbing a deal, where we were seeing 9, 10 offers on properties. So I think we know that the buyer pool is there right now.
Yeah.
So it's a great time to sell.
Call your shot, in other words.
Yeah, exactly. It's good now. We don't know what it's going to look like later in the year. Or maybe we do. But.
Yeah. Well, that's later, the prediction part. Yeah. So if I'm an investor, what should I be thinking about? And Ankur, by the way, comes from investment background in real estate.
Yep.
And so you're a resident expert. Tell me if I'm an investor, what am I thinking about?
Yeah, I think it depends what type of investor you are. If you're focused purely on cash flow, then maybe San Diego isn't the place for you to invest. But San Diego...
Wait, stop. Let's redo that. No, go ahead. Just kidding. Go ahead.
So if you're focusing just on cash flow, then San Diego, like New York City, San Francisco, is probably not the place where you want to invest.
Right.
But if you're looking for purely appreciation, then obviously looking in the last few years, this is a place to invest. So low cap rates are there because it's a low risk market. And why is it low risk? Because of the buoyant rental market. You will rent somewhere here in a matter of hours, let alone days and weeks. So the risk there for investors is very low. But having said that, I've spoken to a few investor clients over the last couple of weeks, and they are thinking of maybe cashing in and going down the cash flow route and, going out to state maybe for selling one property here and buying 3 or 4 in Arizona, Mexico, and getting out. So
Mexico?
New Mexico, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, what are the cash flows down there?
But yeah, so it depends what type of investor you are and what type of returns you're looking to get.
Those places are up significantly, though, too.
They are.
Keep in mind.
Yeah.
I mean, Arizona in particular, Colorado,
Definitely.
Texas, all of those places.
Yeah.
What do you think, Chris?
Market sellers?
Yep. You take the buyer's end. I'm a buyer. I need to buy a house. I'm coming into town. I need to be in my home by March. Help.
Better start looking right now. Get
Yeah.
pre-approved. Let's go out and look this weekend. So for buyers, I would just say be prepared for, like I said, just be prepared to be persistent, to be grind, to have your heart broken a few times, because more than likely, you're not going to get the first house you put an offer in. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time for buyers to kind of learn, even though we're educating them, to kind of learn the market and have their foot in there and have their heart broken and kind of tell them, don't fall in love with the house until you actually close on it, kind of thing. Just to set expectations.
Right.
You don't want them to be all excited and then it just kind of turns into a process where it's like, oh God, we're going to see another house. Like you want to keep that, just basically set expectations, I would say, for buyers. And that's kind of what we try to do with our clients is let them know what's going on in the market, what to expect, especially even different neighborhoods. Like some are even hotter than others.
For sure.
How many homes, when we're going over the map, hey, there's not many homes on here right now. This is how it's gonna be. So just be prepared.
Right.
We're gonna send you properties. It might not be a lot, but just kind of.
And what about decision making? You don't really have a lot of time in this market to decide once you've seen something.
Yeah, no, it's kind of instant decisions, and it's not great. I mean, hopefully so during last year when we had kind of limited showings and all that kind of stuff, there were 15-minute showings. So your clients are having to make a decision on purchasing a house within 15 minutes of seeing it. I think we'll see a little bit, they're still going to have to make quick decisions because other clients, other people, other buyers in the market out there are making those quick decisions. But I think it might, you'll have maybe 30 minutes to think about it this year. So
and we're going to give them all the information we can, correct, to make a solid decision, at least from an informational standpoint. You still got to get that feel and whether it's the right place. When we're looking at, we look at last year and what's going on, and we're thinking about what drove the market last year. In my mind, the one thing that's going to be significant this year and the thing I'm going to focus on seriously is where's inventory? Because that's going to tell the tale. If we ever, the first things you see in our world is you see things not having as many multiple offers or maybe, one offer. Then next you see market time go up, and then next you see instead of every price being higher than the last, we'll start seeing some adjustments down. So those are the things I'm looking for to see if any of that happens. It doesn't look likely at the beginning of this year. So people have equity, one of the things that drove last year's market, though, isn't here. Maybe. The stock market was up huge. Interest rates were down low. And like Bitcoin, all these different things were flying. Asset classes were flying. So the average person in California gained $119,000 equity that owned a property, which is, down here it's more than that. But that's kind of crazy, too, to think about.
Yeah.
So let's wrap on what we actually think. Let's just say we've got a crystal ball and we're thinking about what's going to happen. What's your best guess, or what do you think? What are some likely scenarios? And what are some questions? Think about this too. What are some questions if I'm buying or selling into this market, what kind of questions should I be asking myself? Let's go with what do you think might happen this year?
So I have 3 different scenarios. The first one being, yeah, you can pick what one you want. No, I'll give you a few probabilities too, which it just, it's not scientific. This is just kind of what we're seeing out there. First, it's going to be the same as last year as far as price appreciation for sellers. We're going to see, 20 to 30% price gains over that year. It's just going to be crazy and no inventory. And it's, buyers are going to be, there's multiple offers on every property, which we probably will see. But likely scenario of like that price appreciation, 20, 25%, is probably like 15%. The next scenario is we're going to see like a housing crash at kind of towards the end of the year. There's just so many factors out there.
Because people use that term.
Yeah, you could, a crash being, let's just call it 20% price drop.
Okay.
20% price drop, which, I mean, if we
still
did
be
that right now,
10%
we'd still
above
be
last
above
year.
where we were last year.
Okay,
Yeah, so
yeah.
kind of look at prices last year. That's where you could expect prices to be towards the end of the year.
Okay.
We'd probably put like a 20, 25% probability on that. The biggest probability I'm putting is on kind of a more mellowed out market where we see people, like I said, less buyers or more people getting into homes. So it kind of depletes that buyer pool, or interest rates kind of falling, kind of taking buyers out of the market, and more inventory, kind of equalizing the supply and demand a little bit.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll just kind of see. I think that's kind of the highest probability, kind of that middle ground, where we still see some appreciation, but not insane like we have seen over the past years.
So maybe only 10%.
Yeah, even 10% is a pretty solid gain, on $100,000 or on $1 million property, it's, $100,000 in equity right there. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll see things probably, stabilize slightly, but I still think 2022 is about the sellers trying to get the highest amount for their property and perhaps putting it on the market themselves and overpricing it 20% and seeing what they can get. And, at the moment, I don't blame them. But I think reality will kick in for a lot of the sellers. Just because, you want one figure doesn't mean that actually that is where the market is. So it depends on the pool of buyers that you're trying to attract. There are always going to be a pool of buyers for property in this area. But the more and more you turn your property into a turnkey property, that's when you start to really, double the amount of the larger the pool of buyers and really hit those crazy prices. So I still think prices will go up slightly, but not as bad as last year.
Cassidy?
Gotta make it good, because it's got to be the right one.
Yeah.
When we look back next year.
You could just say more of the same.
Yeah, right. No more the same. I mean, like we talked about earlier, I think we have to see an increase in inventory just because there's nowhere else to go but up. I think that hopefully, as things have gotten, of course, we're falling back again with COVID-wise, but hopefully as people have this kind of in the rearview mirror as the year goes on, we can see sellers not as afraid to make a big change, either make a change to move out of state or make a change to move up or make a change to move down. Like if you've built a ton of equity over the last 2 years, if you're an empty nester looking to buy a condo, it's the perfect time to do that because you've got a lot of equity in your house. So hopefully there's just a lot of scenarios where sellers need to sell or want to sell because they've done so well over the last couple of years, which then will kind of create a little bit more of a normalized market. I'd say a little bit of a plateau this year would there's definitely a chance of that maybe at the tail end of summer.
Right.
And just a little bit more normalcy than last year.
It's going to be, none of us have a crystal ball. We got a crazy 8 ball in there, but it only answers so many questions. Yeah, I asked what the market's going to do, and it says it's unclear. So, and it is kind of unclear to a degree because of a couple different factors. One is the Fed has been pushing rates down for so long and buying bonds for so long. I don't think they're sure what's going to happen when they've accelerated their stopping buying as many bonds, and they're going to raise rates, they say, 3 to 4 times this year. I don't think they really know what's going to happen because they've had the gas on for so long that when you start letting off, some crazy things can happen. So if somebody said you have to make a guess, otherwise we're going to exit you from the system right now and you're done. My best guess is that we're going to see most of our gains in the first half of the year as far as pricing, and that as interest rates go up and we think the economy is going to really go forward and move strong, but if we don't see people have higher incomes to make up for the higher cost houses and the higher mortgage rates, then there will be definite impact on real estate. And so then we'll see some inventory. And maybe it'll be from both ends. Instead of, we always think of it as one thing changing in the other, could be less people looking and
More people selling.
And more people selling, which would get you to an equilibrium much quicker. So, and there's, if the experts at NAR and some of those say 5.2% increase this year, I don't know, Goldman Sachs says 20%. The one thing I do know is we're going to watch what's going on regularly, daily, and be ahead of the curve. So if you're selling and you're thinking of selling 6 months from now, call us right now, because even if you're selling at the end of the year, you might want to start down the process of talking about what's going on in your neighborhood and keep a watch on it. Because if things keep going and it just kind of powers up, then no rush. But if we start seeing some changes, you may want to adjust your time frame. So that's one thing I would say. That would be my best advice for, especially if you've been in a house long term and you've had this historic run that, okay, you get out at 98% of the top versus 100. None of us guess a top or a bottom for the most part. Yeah. So anyway, having said all of that, the only reason to buy or sell a house if it's the right thing for you to do at the time you're doing it, whatever the price is. Exactly. So I've bought in houses where interest rates were more than twice what they are now, and and when they're a little bit lower, and it, the reasons have to make sense. I would say if you're buying houses on a whim that you think you're guaranteed to have a price increase over the next 5 years, think about why you're doing it. Same with selling. If you're selling for the right reasons, then and it makes sense financially, then do it. But
nice.
I think it'll be an interesting year. I'm glad we get to participate in it, and we'll be doing updates. You get market updates from us all the time and stuff like that. So we're going to be talking about what's going on. But that's I think that's a wrap for. Do we have? You want to wrap?
No. You
got your mic?
No, I'm good.
Come on. Okay. You're behind the fern now, so you can be obnoxious. Anyway, that's our Beach Life Group roundtable for the first one for 2022. And if you're thinking of buying or selling in North San Diego County or anywhere, we can connect you with people all over the world. But give Cassidy Lewis a call, give Ankur a call, give Chris a call.
Give that guy a call.
Give me a call. Yep. All of us are happy to help you out. And if you want to hire all of us at the same time, you could do that too. If you're selling multiple properties, we're happy to help. Anyway, we love our job, and we like helping people, and look forward to meeting you guys soon, whoever's out there.
Definitely.
Is there somebody out there?
Yep.
Anyway, that's the Beach Life Group Roundtable.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for being here. Ankur, welcome to the group.
Thank you very much.
And Chris, welcome to the group. Cassidy, welcome to the group. You guys are looking sharp. He's out dressing you guys, by the way.
I know, we got to step up our game.
All right.
Or make our game go lower. Either way.
Maybe.
We'll see.
You're trying to give a contrast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. Anyway, that's it.
Yes.
Have a great one. Thank you.